Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about Mercury conjunct Neptune in Synastry. And I'm actually surprised I haven't talked about this one yet, but I think it's because I've only been able to experience it on the one side with my Neptune, not my Mercury, because my Mercury is in Gemini and nobody is alive with Neptune in Gemini. So I haven't had it both ways. I like to experience it when I talk about it, but I have experienced it on that side and I know about this aspect. And so here it finally is, you guys. So I think this can actually be a really intimate synastry aspect where you really find someone who understands the depths of your soul and your dreams. And there can be a very, very strong telepathic connection with Mercury conjunct to Neptune in synastry. So speaking without words. Now we can also see the negative side of the Mercury Neptune come out here, where maybe we don't say enough in words, and so someone is like evasive in communication, or we're not wanting to share what might like hurt the other's feelings, kind of thing. Like we want to only talk about what's beautiful or what's artistic or what's magical, and then we leave out, well, you really pissed me off today, or like those kind of things. So it can be difficult for communication, like in the 3D sense. Like you probably wouldn't want to have this with like your accountant or, someone like doing some type of work with you like that, because details could be missed, unless, the Neptune and Capricorn generation. I mean, like that's me. So people with Mercury and Capricorn can tend to be on the more grounded side. But yeah, in some signs, this is going to be difficult for like the details and like the 3D stuff or the hard stuff, right? The logic, because this is a very like right-brained synastry aspect. Now, the Mercury person can still come at this with their logic, but the Neptune person kind of like diffuses it and is like taking them to higher levels. Now, Mercury Neptune like this, the Neptune person could really be like the muse of the Mercury. Like they could be their artistic inspiration or their spiritual inspiration. And like this can be a really deep bond at the soul level. And just because it's Mercury, it doesn't mean that this is totally occurring on like a mind level. Like there is an aspect of Mercury that is like so intimate, because it's like finding someone who finishes your sentences and understands you deeply and how your mind works. And it can actually have like a soothing effect on the nervous system, okay? When this is operating from its highest, this can have a soothing effect on the nervous system. Now, if the Neptune person is being evasive or running away or not communicating or ghosting, which can unfortunately be common with Neptune synastry, the Mercury person could have the opposite effect and feel like destabilized in their nervous system from the Neptune person, because they're just like they're there and then they're not. And that can be a lesson for the Mercury, in that they can't like force the Neptune to be like there with them in the day-to-day and be stable in the 3D sense. The Neptune person is going to, dance about in their angelic way, and the Mercury person can't force them to stay and be normal and communicate regularly on a certain time or whatever. Now, this might not be an issue with other synastry aspects showing good communication too. It might not be as much of an issue, but like the worst potential of this is the Mercury person never quite feeling like they can keep the Neptune with them because they're off in some other spiritual land. And I mean, in like the worst of this, maybe the Neptune person is actually like spiritually ungrounded or like not sane. I mean, that's like the worst aspect of Neptune, right? Maybe they're an addict. Maybe they're just not of this world really, and it's hard to keep them in reality. That could be the worst aspect of this, but in most cases this is just going to be a very deep very telepathic, very like in tune with each other. The Neptune person does have this very accurate insight into the Mercury person's mind. Like they know exactly what it is that they want to hear, and they can deliver like a profound spiritual healing and message to the Mercury person, and like really like bypass the logical mind and actually just like get right into like the soul mind of the Mercury person. So it can be great for any type of like deep work. Like I love it when my clients come to me with a Mercury and Capricorn conjunct my Neptune, because I'm like, haha, I'm gonna really get into their mind and like be able to understand them at a deep level, and they're gonna really like the reading, at least in my experience. Maybe they don't, maybe that's me being delusional as Neptune, but like in my experience of that, in that aspect, it's like for delivering a spiritually healing astrology reading, or a healing session, this is a great aspect to have. You could not have a better aspect, in my opinion. So for that type of work, this is great. Like I said, the other types of more 3D, like logical stuff, is where it could get tricky, right? But I think there generally is like a lot of respect for each other. Like the Neptune person too, it's not just the Mercury person thinking the Neptune person is this like brilliant muse. The Neptune person can think of the Mercury person as quite like intelligent and deep, and just someone who's really like out of this world, and they can really enjoy them and like enjoy communicating with them. And so this aspect can be very like rejuvenating for both people, like really like enlightening, rejuvenating, deep, intimate, like I said. You don't always need to be communicating in words. You kind of just know what the other person is thinking, which can be really good in a long-term relationship. Now, the problem is when, you assume things, right? You don't say what you're really feeling, because there is that quality of Neptune to want to like keep it light and beautiful, right? So my only advice with the synastry aspect would be to like lay it all out on the line, like be very direct, which is like going to be the hardest thing to do, because like with Neptune in a strong aspect in synastry, there's like the tendency to do the opposite, where you're kind of like, all mystical, and you're not fully like gonna be super direct. But with a Mercury Neptune aspect like this, you want to just force yourself to be as direct as possible. State your intentions. This is my intention for the relationship, and this is where I see it going. Are you on the same page? Like stuff like that. This is just like the antidote to Neptune, is just being super direct, which I love as an Aries rising, Aries Venus person. I love to just tell people to be direct and just say what you feel and be authentically you. That's the advice I would give with this aspect. And then it can work beautifully. Like then it can be like one of the best aspects that you could ever have in synastry, because you truly get each other. There's like this artistic element, this creative element, this spiritual depth, and like intuitive rapport with each other. Just awesome if you're just super direct and you tell each other exactly what you feel and what you're thinking. And like Mercury, don't be afraid to like upset Neptune, or don't be like afraid to be annoying. Like you can share with them. You don't have to think of them as this mystical being. Like you can just talk to them like they're a person. They are like, they're not this like, everybody is godly really in their own way, but like there can be some like idolization, which you don't need to have. And that can actually impact the communication if you're putting the Neptune up on a pedestal too high. Like they are human, right? As beautiful and wonderful as they are, they're still human. So you can relate to them as such. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this synastry aspect. If you've had it, what has it been like for you? I'd love to hear about it. Was it like this? I'd love to know. And thank you for the requests, you guys. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Bye.